Welcome. What is that happening? Okay, anyway.
The dog.
Got a dog's ass in the middle of the picture. Welcome to the show. If everyone likes starfish, you just got one. Anyway, that being said, dear God, man. Dear God. Well, welcome to the show. Took a couple of weeks off. We're here this week. We're going to talk about some free agency and do the mock draft just for our particular teams for 3 rounds. And then next week, post free agency, we're going to have a lot to talk about. We already know some things that are happening. Deebo Samuel going from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th round pick. That was pretty shocking to me that they just got a 5th round pick for him. Was that shocking to anyone else?
No, it's funny. I was listening to Moving the Chains today, and Pat Kerwin was interviewing Wes Snead, the Rams general manager, and he summed it up really good. He goes, there's things about obviously about draft pick compensation. First of all, you look at where the player is in terms of his career. You look at the amount of money that it's going to cost the team to take that contract on. So while in a Madden trade, it looks really good for a wide receiver like Deebo Samuel or these other guys, DK Metcalf, who wants trades, and all these guys to get a 1st or a 2nd round pick. A lot of the compensation that goes into it is based on contract, age of the player, whether they're in their prime or on the back end of their career or the front end of their career, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, I understand it. I mean, when you first look at it, the 5th was like, whoa, but what the team is taking on in salary, and then they got to re-sign him because I think he only has 1 year left on his contract. So you're not going to give up a lot of equity in terms of a higher draft pick to have a guy maybe play 1 more year.
Okay. KD, your thoughts?
At first glance, you probably look at it and you say, hey, they got holes. But I believe he was due $21 million or something like that. So at the end of the day, that's why you're the GM. You got to kind of magic move stuff around and make stuff fit into what you have. So,
all right, Eric, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's a step closer to being competitive with Philadelphia, which is great. And it's a step closer to Brandon Ayuk to Pittsburgh.
So I'm just going to let you all know I haven't really been paying attention to the chat for our group, but I got sucked in, and every time I do, every time someone becomes a free agent, Eric's like, "Oh, they're going to the Steelers. They're going to the Steelers. They're going to the Steelers."
I will tell you, Sean.
It's almost Easter, and where's Jesus going to go? To the Steelers.
Fuck yeah!
I'm going to tell you, Sean. I would welcome Brandon Ayuk to go to the Steelers. He's in the first year of a $120 million contract. He's coming off of an ACL injury. And then you'll say when he has a bad year that the quarterback position wasn't settled, blah, 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 this and that. When we all know that you would harp on any other player who was coming off an ACL injury that didn't have a Pro Bowl caliber season, his year that he came back is washed. But Brandon Ayuk would have an excuse because he's a Steeler. So I would welcome Brandon Ayuk to come back, catch 25 passes for 450 yards, and you would call it a success. So
First of all, I hear you. First of all, Sean, you muted me in the middle of that, and so I took a little offense to that just for a second.
Well, it's because there's feedback coming over your mic.
Is there feedback coming? I'm in my
Yeah,
mic.
something's crackling. That's why I had to. Because
Okay.
not that we want to hear David, but it was tough to hear him. So maybe just turn your volume up a little bit and get more crackle.
Okay, well, maybe I do have. I'm sorry. I'm not sure why I'd have feedback going from my mic. But here's the deal, real quick. All of us are fans, and sometimes I'm a little too much of a fan. And I'd like to apologize to the national audience we have, all 5 of you that are watching today, including the 4 of us that are on the show. But ideally, this is the time of the year where you as a fan, and all of us should be fans, you anticipate upgrading your team. And with all the big wide receivers that are hitting the market currently, I know I'll probably end up with Van Jefferson, and I'll have to avoid the chat for days because, well, I'll get lovely morning reminders from Jeff and KD about how crappy life can be. So, ideally, don't crush my dreams, you sons of bitches.
Okay, we can handle that. All right, so just some really quick news. Buffalo Bills signed Shakir to a 4-year, $32 million guaranteed, $60 million contract. This is one that I think this one's going to backfire big time. The Bengals putting the franchise tag on T. Higgins. I don't think he's playing. KD, your thoughts?
I mean, we've done this before. So again, to me, especially with all the other moves that are happening with the Bengals as a team, like what's the holdup? Like Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, we just got all these different things that's going on, and you don't want to pay one of the things that you've been known for. Since Burrow has gotten there, since they assembled this team, T. Higgins has been a staple for your offense. You got rid of Tyler Boyd, you let Tyler Boyd go, and T. Higgins still came through for you when you needed him to come through. To the point to where you can make an argument. The reason why they was making a playoff push because of the play, the complementary play of T. Higgins alongside Jamar Chase. So again, I don't know why you don't want to pay him. I just don't get it. I promise you, I do not. And if I'm him, I'm to the point to where like, hey, look, I'm done playing games. If I have to go to somewhere for 1 year just to get a little bit of money instead of the franchise tag, why not? Especially if we're going to end up 8 and 9 anyway and not make the damn playoffs. So again, at the end of the day, I don't think he plays on this either. Something has to give. They got to stop playing around because I know for a fact there will be some teams that are clear some cap space, and if you got to take $10 million or less, I believe he would do it just to stick it to the Bengals. But now the other thing about this is how much power do the Bengals have over his contract? But even though he's under the tag, it's like, okay, he doesn't have to sign it, but what does his years look like underneath it?
Well, and the one thing that I would ask Anthony is if it was a tag and trade, okay? And I don't necessarily disagree with that concept. But so you got to remember one thing, that the tag for the wide receiver is what, 26.2 million is what the tag is, I believe.
Yep.
So what compensation from Cincinnati or from the team who acquires him, what compensation is Cincinnati looking for? Because we had a conversation based on compensation of a Deebo Samuel getting a 5th round pick. You're taking a wide receiver who's going to, if he signs the tag to be traded, it's an automatic $26.2 million cap hit. You can't renegotiate it. You can't restructure it. The team who trades for him takes that cap hit. So is Cincinnati going to be happy with the 5th round pick in return for T. Higgins? Because the team is not going to give up a 2nd round draft pick for a T. Higgins, even though his play merits that, but you're also taking on almost $27 million in cap space. So I think the one thing about that is what is Cincinnati willing to take in compensation? Because if they hold out for, well, we're not taking anything less than a 2nd or a 3rd, all bets could be off. I mean, for that. And that's all I'm saying. But I don't necessarily disagree with the tag and trade scenario, as long as Cincinnati's willing to take less. And one more thing I'll say, and I'll let Eric talk on it. If you're Cincinnati, don't piss Joe Burrow off, because if you piss him off, he might not be your quarterback.
Very true. Eric, so tell us why T. Higgins is going to end up being a Steeler.
Because they got $63 million in cap space.
He's talking. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth?
Lots of money. But listen, I'm concerned about Dave's comment about don't piss Joe Burrow off. So ideally, we're catering and we're just letting the players run the team, and we're not managing the team like a business. We're not managing the team let the coaches manage the team. We're worried about Joe Burrow. The problem with the Bengals is they're catering too much to Joe fucking Burrow. So Sam Hubbard's gone, right? So that he retired today. Guy was with them 7 years. That's a significant loss. You've got Hendrickson. I know Mike Hilton was the captain of their defense, and he's gone. So you're losing all these pieces to the defense, and really the best way to become a Super Bowl champion team is to have some freaking balance. And what you're basically essentially telling me is, well, throw the bag at Chase, throw the bag at Higgins, but I'm gonna disagree with Dave. The salary cap is not a fictitious number, so you can only do so much in order to be cap compliant and build a best team. So your best team is not going to be Joe Burrow going out there and throwing 50 touchdowns and you going 8-9 every year. We just saw that doesn't work. So what do we need to do? We probably need to invest some of that T. Higgins money, let him go, draft a receiver really high, and invest that money on the defense, especially considering Sam Hubbard just retired. So your defense is now worse than it was at the beginning, and you're throwing the bag at the wide receiver position. Even the tag is going to significantly hurt your team this year.
Well, can I ask you this real quick, Eric? Do you think Cincinnati was wrong in not moving T. Higgins last year and re-signing a cheaper Tyler Boyd and letting T. Higgins go and not having to worry about that money that they're now tying up in a franchise tag if he decides to sign it? Should they have taken the lesser wide receiver? And again, Tyler Boyd served a role in Cincinnati that, based on the quarterback play in Tennessee, he never lived up to, but he had that quarterback in Cincinnati. Do you think sometimes teams will look at the name like T. Higgins and they could have had a $10 million wide receiver in Tyler Boyd and use $16 million that they're putting this extra in the cap or in the franchise tag for T. Higgins, and they could have went out and signed a defensive player? I mean, that would have been the smart choice if you ask me personally.
So here's where the NFL is tricky. It's all about player. It's about player development, right? So it's ideally you're developing players to replace more expensive players in order to keep your team successful. So Tyler Boyd did not work out in Tennessee, but would he have been okay as a number 2 receiver in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow? Probably. I think it would have been smarter to try to get some draft compensation for Higgins, probably draft a receiver somewhere in that draft compensation, and then spend your money on the defense to try to balance your team out. I think that would have been the smarter move. I still think it's the smarter move to try to put him on the trade block, but now a team has to look at him and say, do I want to pay $32 million for potentially what is a younger Juju Smith-Schuster, who, if in a different situation, may not be a number one wide receiver and may have benefited from all the attention Chase gave, just like Juju benefited from all the attention Antonio Brown gave. So I don't know if at this point they're gonna get what they wanted out of that. And the other problem is the value. There's a lot of wide receivers out on the market now, and you're probably not going to go spend high draft capital when you can get similar production for a much cheaper rate.
And let's just remember, they can also rescind the tag and they can release him. So because he hasn't signed it, the Bengals have the option to rescind the tag and release him. It's not etched in stone that he is a Bengal. The tag's been tendered, but Cincinnati can rescind the tag. So there's that too.
Well, let's move on.
Yep.
Okay, I was going to say, let's move on to now the highest paid non-QB in the NFL is now Max Crosby. Well-deserved. He is a beast. Obviously, that I played this clip a couple of 6 months ago or something when they were playing the Broncos and Bo Nix is calling out audibles. Bo, they don't know. It was awesome.
I can't hear you, Bo.
Anyway, so yeah, he got $106 million with 91.5 guaranteed for 3 years. So hopefully that injury he got is taken care of and he can perform. But yeah, that's some serious money there. Eric, what do you anything to say about the Max Crosby thing?
I think I think in the NFL, if you don't have a competent quarterback, I think it's going up. It's hard. You're swimming up water, trying to compete. And so I know we want to try to sell tickets and keep the butts in the seats, but I think that was a great trade asset they could have used in order to try to get them in a position to get a potential elite quarterback. Because if you don't have an elite quarterback, you're not going to win much in the league. I would have probably traded him for a really high draft choice and probably taken a couple swings at the draft. I don't know if the Raiders, Las Vegas, is in position to win anything right now.
Yeah, I kind of want a little talk about that too.
So with that logic, TJ Watt's going to the Jets then.
I'm going to be honest with you, Sean, and as a Jets fan, if you give me your number one for the next 2 years, I might do a TJ Watt trade.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. I do want to touch on what you'd said about the quarterback. And I think that the Raiders are really counting on Shadir Sanders falling to them at 6. It could very well happen. I mean, if he goes, maybe he's going to go to Cleveland or the Giants. I could see one of those scapping him up. I think he would play for the Giants. I don't think Shadir Sanders would play for the Raiders.
Can I make a quick comment before you go, Dave? I would love to see the Netflix series of Shador in Cleveland with Dion trying to manage all that. I think that would be hilarious. What about you, Katie? You think Dion would do well in Cleveland?
Well, I think Cleveland was one of those teams that he said he didn't want him to. So I don't think that's going to happen. The other thing is he's put himself in the media as being brash. So I think that kind of helps him drop to at least the spot. So.
Oh, I'm going to tell you. I'll give you my opinion. I don't think there's a lot of great quarterbacks in this draft. I think Cam Ward is going to be a decent quarterback. I'm not sold on Shadur Sanders. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe his flashy personality. And this is just me from an outsider. Okay, I see a lot of flash. I see a lot of. I don't know what he is like as a leader. Okay, and Colorado played good, and again, I don't know if that was because of Shador or if it was because of the coach, Dion, getting that from his players. So I don't know a lot about Shador Sanders from a leader of men perspective, from a leader on the football field, his team. Okay. To me, I think the most interesting quarterback in this draft, and I think if the Raiders stood pat and really wanted a quarterback that they could probably build with, I would take Jackson Dart. He reminds me a lot of Bo Nix. And I just think he's going to be one of those even-keeled, has the temperament, not flashy, but he can get the job done on the field. He can throw the ball. And I like Jackson Dart from what I've seen. At least I know the combine's the combine and all that other stuff, but, you know, I don't know. I just have this feeling about Jackson Dart.
I got to say something real quick because one of our viewers said he's Kenny Pickett. I would like to remind our viewer that Kenny Pickett is a Super Bowl champion. So, I mean, ideally he could be. I'm sure he wants to be Kenny Pickett, just like Lamar and Josh.
Oh, my God. Okay. The guy had one pass in the Super Bowl, a clean pocket, a wide open wide receiver, and, he threw it onto the bench over his head. But, hey, be proud, Kenny. Be proud.
All right. So with that all being said,
Mad that Flacco's better than Ben.
Oh my God, I may absolutely lose my freaking mind. Look, Joe Flacco is the greatest Baltimore Raven, Cleveland Brown, whatever quarterback you want to say, but better than Ben. Those are them fighting words, Katie. Hey, I can.
Somebody got a Super Bowl MVP trophy in their house. Somebody doesn't.
God damn it! I finally.
Damn it! I hate when you make sense. I can't fight it.
All right. Before Eric's panties get in any more of a bunch, we'll move on. Saquon Barkley, now the highest paid running back in history, right?
Yep.
So yeah, the 2-year extension, $41.2 million, $36 million guaranteed, and then he's got another $15 million in incentives. So if Philly makes another run and wins again, he's going to be rolling in the dough. It's kind of nice to see running backs getting a little bit of what they needed, because the running back they got to do it all. They got to run, they got to catch, they got to block, and that's the biggest fucking thing. When you get some linebacker crashing and you got to step up there and stick them, man. I was a receiver. Fuck that. I ain't doing that shit.
Hey, John, I'm glad you led into this. I'm glad, because I remember somebody, I ain't gonna say who, somebody was telling me how running backs were replaceable. You can get them a dime a dozen, is what somebody told me. A dime a dozen. You can get them cheap. And they can do the same thing as some of these premier running backs. I can't remember who it was. Somebody told me that.
It was me, and I'm going to tell you.
Oh, what? Hold on.
Hold on a minute. I don't believe you can replace the running back with a cheap, cost-effective. Here's the deal. I'm going to make this statement right now. He had a great year. He had an MVP caliber year. He should have won the freaking MVP. I don't disagree. They should have given it to Barkley. He was the best player. Well, he was the most valuable player on offense. He will never have another season like that, and Philly will not get their money worth on this deal. They're paying for what they got last year, and it will not duplicate. It will not replicate. It will not happen again.
Okay, I think the problem is, okay, and this is the thing about running backs, because look at in some instances, KD, I can somewhat agree with Eric in the fact. Wait, hold on. No, just no, not that he can't replicate the year. No, just hear me out. I believe that there are running backs in this league that are replaceable. Okay, obviously that's in any position. The problem is the impactful running backs in this league, the Derrick Henrys, the Saquon Barkleys, those type of players. they're few and far between. Okay. And the makeup of the team that they go to, that's what, whether it's a running back dependent team or a passing team, or so on and so forth. Okay. So if Derrick Henry, for example, went to Cleveland would not have been any better with Derrick Henry on that team. Okay, because of the makeup of that team, the running of that team. Yes, Derrick Henry is a talent, but when you go to a team that is devoid of talent, your talent can only do so much. Do you understand what I mean? I know it sounds, but
I get it.
If Saquon Barkley went to Cleveland, would he have ran for 2,000 yards?
Can I, Sean? I'm sorry. I know Sean want to keep. Did we not witness the Tennessee Titans go to the AFC Championship against the Bengals, and they should have lost that game? The Titans should have went to the Super Bowl. Did we not watch this? I just want somebody to tell me, what did the offense consist of?
Ryan Tannehill had a great year that year.
Oh my Lord! Oh my gosh! Wow! Amazing! Just amazing.
Well, no, I'm asking.
I'm sitting there telling you. I'm going to sit here and tell you, Derrick Henry. If you give him 2 years on any team, especially him younger, in his younger years, sure, you give him a chance to. Hey, I got a quarterback I can put around him. Because let's be honest. What's the best year Tannehill has had?
Oh no!
Let Eric tell it. It was because
of Arthur Smith.
It was not. It was not.
He had great game plans.
It was a Mike Vrabel led defense that did what they needed to do. That's what it was. Complimentary football with Derrick Henry. I'm not sitting here saying, hey, Cleveland is going to go and win or go to the AFC Championship. What I am sitting and telling you is the team was going to be competitive. They were going to be competitive. Here's the reason why. If they didn't run Nick Chubb in the ground, they would have still had the same type of running back. But they ran him into the ground. You didn't build any. You didn't have anything around him. You had a chance. You had a chance to really go do something good and say, hey, look, I don't have to run Nick Chubb if I don't want to. I got a good enough defense. The defense is playing well. I need to go get receivers to pair well with Njoku so I can take some of this pressure off of Nick Chubb. And since doing so, you ran the guy in the ground. Now he's hurt. He's no longer a threat to people. So guess what? Guess what people are going to do? Your quarterback can't beat me. Your receivers can't beat me. That's what's going to happen. So again, I'm never going to fall into the category or say, hey, running backs or deemed replaceable. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to tell me you had no run game, whether it be running back by committee or whatever it may be, and you made it to the Super Bowl. You can make the argument. You can make the argument I didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver. You can make the argument I didn't have a 5,000-yard passer. You can always make that argument, but nobody can make an argument whether it was a guy that was eating up touchdowns in LeGarrette Blount or whether it was a guy that was running for 1,500 yards. You needed some element of a run game every year.
Right, and
I am constructing an orchestra over here, so let's let him talk.
No, I'm just going to say something because you guys always accuse me, so I'm just going to talk myself out of my argument because I always end up doing so. Because again, Saquon Barkley got Daniel Jones a $43 million contract. So okay, never mind. I talked myself out. My argument. So.
Hey, listen. While you're
Ryan Tannehill was getting MVP consideration because of Derrick Henry. Just think about it.
While you're conducting your orchestra of love to KD, because that's what we do here on the show and on the chat. I'll be an independent free thinker here, and just say, ideally, okay, and not with the system that lots of teams with like Willie Parker, for example, as an undrafted rookie free agent, with the Chiefs with a running back committee of who the hell knows have won the Super Bowl 3 or 4 times. Pacheco
did I not, Sean? Did I not say that running back by committee or a 1,500 type of running, 1,500 type of yards.
Well, that's every fucking team. You either have a running back committee or every team.
You need an element to the run game. I've never seen anybody have less than 1,000+ yards on the ground and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has.
We let billionaires tell us, hey, okay, look, no, we don't need that. We don't need that. But when I can take the pressure off of your $45 million Daniel Jones quarterback and make it easy on him because I can get in the end zone 10 times, you need that in the playoffs.
Right, but your running back committees, every team has over 1,000 yards. That's the point. If we look up the stats and see which team had 1,000 yards, if they include all their running backs, that's every fucking team. So I mean, that's ideally.
You looked at one side. You didn't look at the second side. What else did I say?
And 10 touchdowns, and I bet you they have 10 run. Most teams, I probably say majority, 90% of teams probably have 10 rushing touchdowns this year if you combine it all. So your point is every team that runs the ball has a chance at winning a game. That's a very generic statement. So what I'm telling you is that you don't need to pay, and I think they'll end up regretting it. You don't need to pay the bag to a quarterback and a running back because you're going to have 22 other positions plus depth to pay for. So you're going to end up regretting having a $100 million running back and a $100 million quarterback.
So I want you to do this for me since you said it was generic because I said at least. I didn't say these are the numbers. Yeah, I want you to tell me a team that didn't have a running back that was a premier guy or either a guy that was top 10 in the NFL that they won a Super Bowl.
KC.
What are you talking about?
You said running back, right? Sir, my phone cut out. You said running back and quarterback?
Running back. Hey, this guy is a premier guy or a top 10 running back.
KC. KC doesn't have a top 10 running back. That's an easy one.
My God. Okay, so we're going to move on to the last one on this little segment here, but Matthew Stafford. Did anyone think he was going anywhere?
I got to be honest. I feel like I got blue balled on this one, and it's been happening a lot. I did have some hope on it, and I was really excited. And then I walked away. It was like I was 19 years old, and I hung out with a girl all day. And then I went home, and it didn't go as I expected. It's the same fucking thing.
Well, I mean, I know the Giants were really into it, and that's why he got paid what he did. Would have been the first correct decision the Giants have made since not being the Jets, I guess.
You don't think he would make the Giants competitive? I think that would have worked out.
No, I didn't say he wouldn't make. I'm just saying that the Giants were interested in him because the Rams were like, "Hey, go see what you can get elsewhere," and the Giants were like, "We'll pay you this," and then the Rams said,
"Oh yeah, I see."
Yeah, okay.
I think that the Rams were allowing him to set his market and find out if it was comparable to what the Rams were willing to pay. I don't think Stafford really had any intention of wanting to go anywhere, especially at this point in his career. You don't want to uproot your family again. You know, you got 2 years left. Your kid's in school. You've been out there for 4 or 5 years already. You already have roots. You already have that. I don't think his intention was ever to do anything but set his market and see if the Rams could match that. But I will say that the good outcome of all this is that Daniel Jones is going to look good in orange and black or gold and black.
Oh God. We're really like, I say it hurts. It sucks to have eyes some days. It sucks to have ears some days and be listening to some of this bullshit.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, it used to be everyone ganged up and picked on David. Eric, you have kind of like just put yourself out there, and so everyone just collapses on you nowadays. And I feel terrible because, like, you're a really nice guy, and I like you. You know,
here's my issue.
I think you're all crazy about shit.
I joke about Daniel Jones, but in all honesty, I don't think that he would be that bad of a quarterback in Pittsburgh. I honestly don't think he would be as bad as you. You might not like him, Eric, and he might not be the sexy choice. He might not be the whatever your dream is, or Aaron Rodgers or Matt Stafford or Kurt Cut, whatever. But the one thing that he gives you is he's a better quarterback from a passing standpoint than a Justin Fields, and he's mobile. And that's what you need right now on your team because you can't have a statue. So I would take a quarterback who's mobile like Daniel Jones and more accurate than a Justin Fields. So if I'm Pittsburgh, I wouldn't necessarily hate that idea.
Okay, let me respond real quick, and we can move on, Sean. Here's the deal. As far as we're concerned, thank God I coach football and I keep myself preoccupied because I feel like I've become you, Sean, where my team now I have to root for a potential Daniel Jones or an Aaron Rodgers. I mean, what does the world come to that my options of looking forward to football season are bad, terrible, awful, bleak.
Pray for your coach to be a little less average.
But it's like, you remember the Magic 8 Ball, and it would always give you some depressing answer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like we're back. I feel like we're back at that.
One losing season would do the Pittsburgh Steelers a world of good.
Who does anybody on here think Arch Manning's not going to be a great quarterback in the NFL?
I don't know.
That's the tank-a-thon starts for Arch Manning in 2026. I'm just telling you.
Well,
I mean, he's got a pedigree. I mean, like right now, as a fan of the Jets or the Steelers, I would take Cooper Manning right now.
Yep.
I know he's like about to collect Social Security, but I mean, that's all we got. Real quick, one last glimpse of hope for you. Oh, no, he's just been taken away. The Red Rocket re-signed with the Panthers, so he will not be going to the Steelers.
DK Metcalf is on the trade block.
Yeah, I'm about to go through some of these real quick because you got Myles Garrett, who I don't think is going anywhere, and I'm going to ask you guys blatant questions about this in a second. But Aaron Rodgers, Tyler Lockett was released. DJ Metcalf has asked for a trade after the Tyler Lockett release. Kirk, the wide receiver from Jacksonville, they released him. Gardner Minshew got released. Devontae Adams was released. Lazard was released. Basically, the Jets have come in and said, the new people of the Jets said, okay, now everything that had to do with that is gone. So, does anyone think Myles Garrett is going anywhere?
I do.
Okay, where do you think he's going?
I think, and here's the thing, not that they're going to go back to the Dan Snyder days, but I think he ends up they're not the Redskins, the Commanders.
Okay.
I think he goes to Washington.
Okay. KD, where do you think Myles Garrett, is he going anywhere? Okay.
He don't want to be in Cleveland.
Do you think he's going to stay in Cleveland, or do you think he's going to go somewhere else?
He doesn't have any leverage.
I don't think so.
So he can't sit here and say, "Hey, I'm not going to play." Okay, even when you play, we suck.
I will say this.
Fair.
If the Browns are on the clock at pick number 2, and you hear the name Abdul Carter come out of the commissioner's mouth, Myles Garrett will be traded before the end of the first round.
What did you think that would happen before the draft?
No, I don't. If the Browns draft Abdul Carter, Myles Garrett will be traded.
If you had 2 bookends like that, your defense is amazing.
Sure. Yeah, if you have 2 bookends and the one wants to actually play there.
Yeah.
KD, do you want to lose some more hair or something? You gonna start picking an eyebrow and chewing it or something?
I gotta make this guy pay.
If the Browns take Abdul Carter, that would make me believe they're probably going to keep Myles Garrett, if anything. just because of what Sean just said. The key to winning the AFC North, you got to have some kind of pass rush. No matter if you got bookends, you got one guy that can get after it, or you got a collective of guys that can get after it. You have to have something, because if not, you're going to get picked apart by Cincinnati, or you're going to get ran all over on the other teams. So
I was just going to say, so you take Abdul Carter, you trade him for a first round, a second round, a first round pick next year, or whatever. Okay, so you draft Abdul Carter, and then at the end of the second round, you can if a Jackson Dart falls down, okay, you can pick a quarterback, and then in the top of the second round, you can pick a Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State. Now you got two young bookends that are cheap and cost efficient to your team, so you can afford to eat up on Deshaun Watson's mega salary that's stuck on your cap for another year after this year. And then you can build your team and be unburdened by Deshaun Watson's contract and have multiple millions of dollars going forward.
Dave, let me real quick. Katie, you look like me when I'm going through grade checks on a Tuesday and the kids are explaining to me why their grades suck. And it's about the same look. It's
The
like
teacher hates me.
Listen. This is what we're not getting. We're not getting this. Myles Garrett wants to trade. Cleveland does not want to trade him.
Sure, I get it.
He has no leverage. There is no leverage whatsoever for saying, "Hey, I have to trade him," unless he said, "Hey, I've secretly banged the owner's wife," and hey, okay, look, I got a particular baby on the way with the owner's daughter or the owner's wife or something. I don't see him just getting traded, getting shipped off just because he doesn't want to be there.
KD, here's a question for you.
Oh my God! Hold on, real quick, Katie. You just said that, and what went through my mind was that scene from the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and
Out of Happy.
You know, I thought he was explaining Cordell Stewart's situation back in 1999.
Here's your question, KD.
Okay, Anthony's asking a question. Okay, all right. So what am I gonna get? That's the other thing too. Because if I'm trading Garrett away, the other thing about this is I need to get a player. Damn a draft pick. Because if I'm doing this, I can't wait 2 years to get these guys developed. And oh yeah, by the way, I suck at developing players. So again, we're going with hypotheticals. That's cool, right? But I need some kind of substance. For instance, hey, okay, Washington, okay, you want to sweeten the deal? This is what I need from you. I need X, Y, and Z. And oh yeah, don't give me a damn defensive lineman if I'm drafting defensive lineman. So what can you give me? What can they give him? Terry McLaurin? No.
I give you
Jane Daniels? No.
Let me think about it a minute. I have to go through the roster.
First round picks and James Cook.
What?
You would James
That makes no sense. Why would you trade away? Why would you trade away your 15 rushing touchdown running back?
He's the MVP of your offense.
Because I drafted Ray Davis last year.
Oh, God.
I got a Wait, hold on. I got a quarterback who gives me 13 touchdowns on the ground.
And that's not guaranteed every year. That's not guaranteed.
Well, and 15 touchdowns on the ground ain't guaranteed from Cook either.
Oh,
Right.
There's no guarantee.
Okay. So are we going to talk about his yards per carry? Are we going to talk about that? Are we going to talk about his? Right. So why would I trade Why would I trade him away after having his most successful year? Why would I trade him away?
Have we ever had a panelist tell you something that you just felt like you were going to die when you listened to it? It was like, I can't believe this just.
Well, again, maybe Buffalo is in the position where they don't want to pay James Cook $15 million.
But
Who are you paying? Who are you paying? Who are you going to pay?
Well,
Josh Allen. Josh Allen's already have a contract. Who are we paying?
Well, you'd have to pay
You said what?
You'd have to pay Myles Garrett if you traded for him.
Oh my God! Listen, James Cook is what? How old is he? 24, 23?
24. I think
24. 24. Okay, he's got his best years ahead of him. He's literally I think, the most important player on that offense this year. And you're going to say, okay, well, let's just ship this guy off and take Myles Garrett, who is, how old is Garrett now? 30, 31, 29. So he's
29.
so in theoretically 32, 33 is about the best you get out of an outside edge rusher. So you're going to go 2-3 years, and you're going to trade away a guy's probably 6 or 7 really good productive years.
Well, let me ask you this question. Let me just ask you a question. Okay, so so what was the knock of Buffalo not beating Kansas City? They didn't have a pass rush. They couldn't get to the quarterback. They couldn't do this. It wasn't about James Cook. James Cook ran the ball 13 times in the
hold on. No, they didn't give him the ball enough.
Let me finish. James Cook touched the ball 13 times in the AFC Championship game. And our defense allowed the Kansas City Chiefs to have their best offensive output of the year. Okay. Our defense gave up a touchdown with 13 seconds left. It's always been about our lack of defense. And then when you say trade James Cook and get one of the premier, if not the premier defensive ends in the game, why would you do that? Because you know what? The one thing that's been proven, James Cook wasn't the Bills running back the first time they went to the AFC Championship. The game goes through Josh Allen. The biggest problem on Buffalo is their lack of a pass rush. Their lack of getting to the quarterback. The fact that in the game against the Ravens, Lamar Jackson stood in the pocket for 7 seconds to throw the almost game-tying touchdown pass to Isaiah Likely.
I have to respond.
Touch the quarterback. They couldn't generate a pass rush.
This is like a presidential debate right now, and we've got like Trump and Biden going at each other. Because I'm going to go nuts here. I'm going to go nuts. It's well, no, you can ask me whatever you want in a minute. Let me respond to your first stuff. Okay. You make 12 statements, and then you want to ask me a question. It's like 13 statements over here, CNN. Okay. All right, let me talk for a second. You're talking. It's not necessarily the players, but the execution of the game plan and the execution of it. Okay, ideally, why did Buffalo lose that game against KC? I don't think it was necessarily the pass rush. It's because they get super conservative on defense, and they go into a prevent defense, which allows KC to take advantage of the middle of the field and drive down, especially in the 13-second game. It wasn't necessarily the pass rush. It was, I'm going to put 3 guys go after the quarterback and have 8 guys in coverage drop back 40 yards and just concede the field. So that, and the second, Cook got the ball 13 times. Your offensive game plan sucked. Like, ideally, it is 4th and 4, and I'm going to throw it 40 yards down the field against a team that's getting pressure. It's the game plan. It's coaching. It's not necessarily.
Well, again, I don't think that was the actual. I don't think that was. I think in that instance, what you're talking about was not the actual call. I think he had like 0.5 seconds to even make a throw 40 yards down the field. I don't think the play was for Dalton Kincaid to be 40 yards down the field. The fact that he had 4 Kansas City defensive backs in his face forced him to abandon whatever play call they called, and he tried to throw it to an open spot on the field. So we can agree to disagree on that. So, but let me ask you this question.
Oh, God.
Last question, Eric. If would you give up Najee Harris and 2 first-round picks for TJ Watt?
Would I keep Najee? Would I give up Najee and 2 first-round picks for TJ Watt? TJ Watt is now going to be 30.
No, I'm asking you.
I'm thinking out loud. He's 30 years old. I would not trade my 2 first-round picks in the next 2 years for TJ Watt. If that's the answer, because I believe he's 30 years old, and I believe I've got 2 or 3 years left with him. And a first-round pick, if I take an outside linebacker to replace him at 22, who's got 7, 8, 9 years, I would take the longevity versus the couple years I got left with him. This is going to be like Old Yeller, where I got to take him out in the back and put him down. It's going to make me sad.
Running back.
I would say 30, 31. I mean, for a good one.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's move on here. Poor KD looks like a guy who's at the opera and it's in French and he only speaks Italian or something. I don't know. He's miserable. So anyway, damn it, I totally lost where the hell I was going to go with this, but we are getting close.
Buffalo does better without the drama, by the way.
Okay. So I'm not going to go through the rest of these. We did list them off. Players who are on the market. Going to be an interesting week to see what happens. Then we will be back next Wednesday, and I'm sure like 8,000 moves will be made, and then we'll have a little better look on what's going on. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to just draft for the first 3 rounds. I am taking the Jets, David is taking the Bills, Eric is taking the Steelers, and KD is taking Baltimore. So David, I'm going to hand it over to you because you got the little thing up. You want me to put the screen up?
Well, I have to be on my screen, so I can't even. I can't see the thing, but I'm gonna enter the solo draft.
Well, you have to pick a team, or else it's just going to keep.
So it's going right now.
Okay.
I think Cleveland actually ends up with Travis Hunter. I think that's legitimate.
So,
all right. So
this is really good, actually, because the Jets are offered several trade opportunities at this point. Mm-hmm. If I'm the Jets and I'm the GM, I would take one of these. San Francisco's given a lot. Green Bay is given some also. But considering that that's not what we're doing here, I would trade this pick if I was the Jets, but we're going to pick. And I think the Jets are going to go with Mason Graham with the way this board is shaking out now. They need a defensive tackle. The offensive tackle, Armand Membau, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's a right tackle. So really the Jets we're looking for a left tackle. So I'm going to go with a defensive tackle and make it sweet because he is right now the best person on the board.
So you're taking Mason Graham?
Mason Graham.
All right.
Oh, God. Don't blue ball me here.
Oh, shit. There goes Buffalo's pick. All right. So you got trade options.
I'm running here to the draft if this happens the way this goes. I'm sprinting the draft board, so get rid of all these trade offers because I can see one name at the top of the list, and he is a potential game-changing running back who Katie says I will not get because I think I'll end up with Ibuka in the draft because I don't think Ashton Genty is going to be there. But if Ashton Genty's in the draft and I'm letting Najee Harris go and I'm in the AFC North and I need a compliment with Warren and as KD says to get through the season, and at this point I hope I have a fucking quarterback. I'm taking Genty at running back there. That is a great pick.
So here, so you get Genty. So we'll reject those trade offers.
Just know the chat's going to be lit if Genty goes to the Steelers this year.
Go ahead, KD. What are you picking right here?
He said he can't see the screen.
He can't see it?
No. So what he needs to do, he's got to I'm doing it on my side too, but
isn't it shared?
I can see it.
Well, if KD on the where you see our pictures and everything on the bottom right hand, you can go to full screen and it'll pop up and show you who's available there. And you could probably read that if you blow it up, then just hit escape to get out.
I can screenshot it to him and send it on the chat. I might do that.
You got that, KD? You go full screen?
Oh, yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. You don't have a Dell, do you?
No, I got a Mac.
Okay, good. The opposite of a Dell.
So if the board shakes out like this. I'm going to take Josh Simmons from Ohio State.
Josh Simmons goes to the Baltimore Ravens, pick 27.
Smart.
And no, screw that. I ain't going down. And if the board shakes out like this for Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills, I'm drafting Kenneth Grant from defensive tackle from Michigan.
All right. Now,
look, Cleveland gets Jackson Dart in round 2. Just like I thought they would.
there you go. All right. So now the Jets, here's another one with them trading with Baltimore. They go back to 59, but they get the second and third round next year. I would totally do that. And then Minnesota is giving a ton, so that might be possible. At this point, it's tough. I mean, with what I got out there and what I need, Jalen Milroe, second round, that might be a possibility. But we really need offensive help. Josh Connerly Jr. from Oregon would probably be the one I would pick at this. We need that offensive tackle.
That's
So
your
I
pick?
would go with, yep, that is my pick.
Josh Connerly Jr. We'll reject those trades. And Eric, you're on the clock.
Oh boy.
Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, I mean, we said the same things about Jalen Hurts, where we're like, I mean, Hurts was a winner, I suppose. He was good in that situation, but he had a lot of the same. I don't think he's a good passer. I heard the same things being. I'm not going to take him, but I'm saying it's a very.
You did not.
Oh yes, we did too.
Did not.
That's why Tua was the better passer. I mean, I heard all that. So
can you tell me what did Jalen Hurts achieve that Milroe didn't?
A national championship.
But they're the same.
Okay. So hold on. I'm very tempted by Walker in Kentucky. Can we look, because it's not going to be anybody on this list. Can we look at wide receivers? Here, let me see who's there. Okay. I'd be tempted to trade back, but there's nobody really. The runs on the wide receivers, nobody really there that I think is worth that pick high. So go to the full list again.
Jaden Higgins. It's T. Higgins' younger brother.
Right. I'm gonna go because the D-line needs work. Walker from Kentucky.
Deion Walker.
Because I can tell you, after Baltimore ripped their asshole open, they've been talking about trying to stop the run very adamantly in that room. And I can tell you, it is a priority this offseason.
This is just my gut. And I really believe, and the reason that I believe this is because, like I said, the one thing about Buffalo, which we found out with Stephon Diggs, is when you rock the boat publicly, I don't think Brandon Beane takes too kindly to that, regardless of who you are. And when you go on Instagram and start saying you want $15 million a year and you still have 2 years left on a contract, or 1 year plus a option or whatever, I really believe that Buffalo is tempted to trade James Cook if they can get the right deal for him, which I think Dallas in the second round pick would be fantastic, but that's just my own opinion. So if that happened, I would take Amari and Hampton here if they traded him, if it fell that way. But because it's nothing's happened yet. And I'm Buffalo, and I got 2 picks in this round.
Do you hate James Cook because I'm a fan of him? Is it because I said he's more important than Josh Allen? It's like now we got voodoo dolls of him and we got to get rid of him.
Well, no, I don't. I love James Cook. Don't get me wrong, but I just there are teams that you rock the boat. If you want a contract extension, come talk to the front office. Don't go on Instagram saying what you're worth and like I said, Stephon Diggs tried it and he got moved and we got better. So because Buffalo does need a wide receiver and he's here at 63.
Hey, Jeff was backstage for 20 minutes.
Oh,
FYI.
Let him in.
I can't let him fucking in.
No, Sean can.
He's not here.
I'm taking Jaden Higgins. Jeff says let him in. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I'm coming out of the thing.
He's not in here. I'm telling you, he's not in here. I've been watching the whole time. I think he's just fucking with you.
You're in the wrong room.
Hey, so Katie, I know you're going to be tempted by while we're waiting, Jalen Milrow here. Because why? You want to? It's you have what? Who's your backup quarterback right now?
Anybody better than Milrow? Anybody?
Oh, come on, it's not Josh Johnson.
Anybody's better than Milrow.
Look at this hate. It's because you're an Auburn guy.
It's
because you're an Auburn. It's because you're an Auburn guy.
Look, listen. I will give anybody their credit if they were like that. Not. He single-handedly lost them games last year. Single-handedly with his decision making, by the way. But okay. Can you scroll up for me?
I can. Tell me when to stop.
All right, you good. You can go back up. So we need a guard. So I'm gonna go with Tate Ratledge from Georgia. I think doubling up in this situation will be fine for.
Already.
I agree.
If Ronnie Stanley leaves,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he leaves or not. If we have to be prepared for the other guys, because that's kind of what hurt us. Luckily, Falele developed into something around the playoffs.
All right. So seeing as how Buffalo doesn't have a 3rd round pick and safety is a need here, secondary help is a need, depending on what they do in free agency in terms of cornerback. But the way the board looks right now, I'm taking Andrew Mambuka from Texas as our safety. But I really think if Buffalo can get the right compensation for Cook, he might be gone.
Oh my God!
I'm just saying.
Quit hating.
I'm not hating. I love James Cook.
Okay, so I've got the lasting image of Baltimore running it down my ass. If I'm Pittsburgh, I hate that. What did we want to do? We wanted to run and we want to stop the run. Okay. So ideally, hopefully, this draft board, the way it's playing out, you're hoping that you get a good number 2 receiver somewhere in the free agency. Okay. And then you've got enough young guys with Roman and Calvin Austin that can fill out the wide receiver room. So I'm going another defensive tackle because I can see Baltimore ramming Derrick Henry down my ass again, and I don't want that to happen. And I love Cam Hayward, but he's 36. Okay, so he's older, and besides Cam Hayward, you got a bunch of scrubs. So give me Alfred Collins from Texas.
Okay. By the way, Eric, someone gets run down your throat or up your ass. Just to let you know that.
Okay, I am not an expert on that subject. I'll defer to
No,
Dave
not me.
on that.
All right, my draft board looks a little different than this one here, although it's probably.
Well, Katie's up on the clock.
Oh, that's why.
All right. So if the board ends up like this, I'm going Cameron Scatterboo to pair with Derrick Henry.
That is a great fucking pick, by the way. Scatterboo is a great pick.
Now the Jets are on the clock.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Sorry, my pork roast just hit its temperature.
Oh,
So I had to go get, I still got to feed the family. Okay, so if the board comes out like this, as I was trying to say before.
Quinn Ewers.
Well, thank you for stealing my thunder, dickhead. I was like, we could really use a safety. So Ransom from Ohio State seems really good. But if Quinn Ewers is still here at 96, that's where the Jets are going to go.
I can see it. Of all the picks we made tonight, that's the one that's probably going to happen the most.
I mean, that's a long way. But
I can see it.
Is that it? Are we done?
So Josh Simmons, Tate Ratledge, and Cam Skaterbo to Baltimore. Kenneth Grant, Jaden Higgins, and Andrew Makuba, to Buffalo. Mason Graham, Josh Cornely, and Quinn Ewers to the Jets. And Ashton Genty, Deion Walker, and Alfred Collins go to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right.
Interesting.
We don't get grades on this?
I thought we were going through all 32 teams when you said 3 rounds today. I was like, they're just no.
No, we picked ourselves. It doesn't give the grades, I don't think. Let me see.
Bummer.
Oh, here he is.
No grades. Hey, Jeff.
Here we go.
Yeah, fucking idiot. Yeah, fucking idiot, man.
No,
I sit in this damn waiting room. You're in the wrong room. No, you're a moron. What's up?
What's up?
How we doing, my long-haired brother?
I'm good. It's good to see all of you. I mean, I'm driving, so I really don't get to see y'all. I was trying to talk to you for like the 25 minutes before I got to the dollar store. That seemed before I got my groceries. I'm just kidding. I had to get a flashlight for my daughter's school tomorrow. What's going on? You guys good?
Yeah.
Your beard's getting longer, dude. What's up?
Your face is getting fatter. Shut up. Just kidding. No, it is good. It's what happens when you don't. It's what happens when you don't cut it. I know y'all missed me. Hey, listen, there's viewers. They don't want to hear me yap and talk shit about David all night. I'm just pleased. It's nice to see everybody. Hey, look. Hey, when David did his Buffalo Bills draft pick at the defensive tackle, I was like, "Look, Mel Kiper, I know you don't even know who that dude is, but thanks for playing the game." I do know. They just put his profile on the combine 3 days ago because you never heard of him before that.
I told you I watch film.
Yeah, you're film watching. Hey, so
That dude outran a running back for a touchdown return, dude.
Hey, look, I've been pretty impressed this year with the big boys, offensive linemen and defensive linemen with their speed. I'm like, golly, man, these are some big boys running, man. They make me a little nervous, man. Them jokers running sub-5s, and you're like, what? You're 300 pounds and 285 running a sub-5, man. If you hit me, I'm dying.
Exactly.
Are you on the trade James Cook bandwagon there, Jeff?
No, I mean not per se. I mean, at the end of the day, what is the I mean, I like James Cook. I was happy with the draft choice when we drafted him. I liked him at Georgia. But I think you got to look at what the value is. I mean, consider this: Buffalo's had decent run. Their run game has been decent the last few years. I mean, it's not been great. James Cook definitely has been a pro to that. But if you're gonna lean to it, then it'll be beneficial, right? If that's the way it's gonna go. So I don't think they should trade him.
Well,
Does that make sense? I mean, I'm not mad if they do. I mean, well, what are they getting for him? I mean, you got to consider what you're going to end up paying him. Are you paying him $15 million a year? Does he warrant $15 million a year? I don't know. Well, it's absolutely with a stellar offensive line. Unlike what you have in Pittsburgh, of course you would say that. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm joking about the stellar offensive line. But there's a threat of a quarterback, right? Like again, everybody. I mean, the conversation's funny, and I know you've said it that Allen is the benefactor of a great running back, right? I mean, that's cool, but you also said that your guy was great, and Russell Wilson nor Jalen, or excuse me, I said Jalen Hurts because you were talking craziness about him a minute ago, but neither him nor Justin Fields benefited from a great running back. So I think that James Cook certainly is good, but I think that he benefits out of a stellar stellar quarterback, right? So you give me a B minus running back, and I think he becomes an A running back based on the quarterback, the skillfulness. No one's making a game plan for James Cook. They are making a game plan for Josh Allen.
If you replace Cook with Ray Davis next year, you're not as good.
Well, I don't disagree. I mean, I wouldn't say that Ray Davis is as good as James Cook. I don't think there's comparable analysis for that to be a real conversation because, I mean, you said, and along with like, I don't know, everybody in the sporting world besides like, I don't know, me and David and a couple other folks, that this year was going to be such a down year for the Bills offense. Meanwhile, they broke every Buffalo Bills team record. We had the second highest scoring offense in the NFL, and yet we lost everybody. So, I mean, is that for James Cook? Sure, he scored like 20 touchdowns or some shit. But I don't know. He could have scored 30 if Josh Allen didn't run him, and Ray Davis could have scored some. I mean, we had a lot of play from Ty Johnson, from Ray Davis. I think that it's skilled. I think running back by committees worked in several organizations throughout years. Buffalo had been doing it for a while. I mean, I don't want to get rid of Cook. I think he's got value. But I also know that, to your point, what you say almost every day is that there's cap issues, and if Buffalo's trying to dig out of it and get to a plus significance to where, you know, free agents want to come and play at an organization that's being competitive, then you move on from them and you get a need, because obviously offense wasn't the issue when defense was not holding up their end of the bargain. So I don't know. And this is my opinion, but I like James Cook, so I want him to stay in Buffalo, but I'm not opposed if they move him.
All right, real quick, guys. I'm going to let you guys take it over. My roast is done. I got to get dinner on the table for my fam. So
get that roast.
Damn right. Pork roast. All right. So, Jeff, good to see you. Hope everything's going good for you. Everybody else, I'm out of here. Thank you. David, you going to wind up the show. All righty. You guys have a good day, and I will see you next week with all the craziness from the fallout of free agent frenzy is on. All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, Sean.
Take care, Sean. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you guys.
So next Wednesday, Jeff, you can come on the chat and you can tell me how excited I am when all these receivers go everywhere else, and I end up with Van fucking Jefferson as my number 2.
Hey, look, I got to be honest. So, Eric, I mean, for the people that watch the show, and I haven't been on for quite a while, but you know, every day, just for you guys to know that just because I'm not here with y'all, I am with Eric every day, because every morning there's a new free agent mentioned and a new Steeler gonna be. But I tell him as they all fall off the board, well, at least Van Jefferson is gonna be there. But you know, so when is the free agency official? Like, when is the actual day?
Next week, next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. So the tampering period opens when?
Monday.
Okay, so what I will tell you is,
it opened up at the combine.
Well, I'm really, as much as I bust Eric's balls because it's fun, I'm really excited for free agency this year, and I am excited for Wednesday, right? What did we learn Monday and Tuesday that fall apart on Wednesday, and what's that first group of free agents look like, and where do they go? I mean, look, the Steelers have money, they have cap space. I'm sure there's going to be some people that work on that over the next few days to get underneath some cap. So, to me, free agency is much more exciting than the draft. I'm looking forward to it. So I will be here on Wednesday with you guys to discuss it.
Well, again, I think the one thing that's got to happen though is before you see Pittsburgh sign any wide receiver, they need to get their quarterback situation resolved. Is it going to be Justin Fields? Is it going to be because you?
Well, Dave,
you're not going to attract a receiver until.
But I think here's the deal, right? And that's, I mean, I think it's Wednesday, so we're a week away. So if you don't see a Russell Wilson or a Justin Fields re-signing by Friday, I would tell you in the tampering period on Monday, you're going to hear those Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers names linked to the Steelers, so they can get towards what they want to have on Wednesday with receiver corps. So, I mean,
So I have been following the situation. So Russell's done. So that's out. Like they don't want Russell. They do want Fields, and Arthur Smith is a Fields guy, but they're going to give a deadline to it. So if it's not done,
hey, time out. I got a quick question. Okay, so here, real quick.
Yeah.
Over what time period did Arthur Smith become the Fields guy?
He is so last year, the drama was when Russell started falling apart towards the end of the year. He wasn't doing very well in practice. So the people in the organization, quote unquote, that were Fields, that wanted to move back to Fields when Russell was struggling, was Arthur Smith. It was some of the offensive coaches, and Tomlin was Tomlin ultimate is the decision maker along with the owner Rooney, and so they were Wilson guys, and so that's why they stuck it out.
Well, I think they're business guys and realize the 5th and 7th round pick implications, right? But I guess my point is this: Arthur Smith passed on Justin Fields out of college and took Pitts because he wasn't a Fields guy. He was not there yet when Fields signed with the Steelers, and then he was there when they signed him. I don't think he's ever been a fan. I think he was a fan just based on the fact that Wilson sucks. I mean, and he was like, let's go back to something that would be okay. But I just don't know. I haven't seen anything, fan or not, right? And I'm not in the locker room, so I'm not going to say these are all things I've heard. I don't know, but the thing is that I haven't seen Arthur Smith create an offense that benefits Fields. Like I mean, Smith is a smart guy; he's a coach, but I've never seen him run an offense in his career that benefits that of a Justin Fields style quarterback.
So I'm just saying, basically, from what the people who are inside the locker room who are paid to be beat writers for the team, they're reporting that those are the people inside the locker room that are Fields guys. But from where I'm at with contract negotiations from Omar Khan, and from what I understand, if it's not done Sunday, it's not happening. And according to a lot of the NFL people that I've listened to today, that Fields is in a lot of other teams like the Jets, which will be hilarious, are in on Fields right now. And that if when they get to the tampering period, that they're not going to they have a price in mind, and they're not going to exceed that price. So if the Jets want to pay him a shit ton of money, the Jets are going to get him, kind of thing, and they're going to move on to a different option or a different plan. So that's what I'm hearing. So if it's not Fields, it's not going to be Wilson. Wilson's not going to want to be a second option, so he's gone. And so it'll be somebody, and who it will be, I have no idea, which is an exciting time.
Yeah, Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes this to Pittsburgh.
Oh God, I'm gonna seppuku. I'm gonna.
Hey, David.
Wait, if that happens, and we're on the show, that will rival the night Mac Jones was drafted to New England.
Yeah, it will.
When Dallas Oliver melted down and almost committed suicide live on air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, but I'll say this, man. I'll say this, and again, I think every year for the last few years I've said the same thing, and every year, it's been the truth is that this year, from a quarterback free agency perspective, it's going to be another interesting year, right? I mean, the last couple years, I mean, there's been a lot of rotating and movements of starting QBs, so interested to see. I mean, you're going to tell with some of those younger or those early draft picks where they're going in the draft or where their mind's at with the two quarterbacks that are going to come out in the first round. I mean, it might be three, but those two specifically, right? Shador and Cam. But other than that, though, you look at all the free agency, all the quarterbacks that are available. There's not enough teams to fulfill all the free quarterbacks, right? I've heard some matches back with Sam Darnold back in New York. I've heard Sam Darnold in Pittsburgh. I've heard Kirk Cousins in Pittsburgh. I've heard Kirk Cousins in New York. Heard Aaron Rodgers in Vegas. I mean, the conversation that I heard that was most interesting is they were talking about Rodgers actually going to Minnesota, which would then follow the exact path that Brett Favre followed. But the other part was him going to the Vegas Raiders because it's a dome and he's getting older. But the most obvious choice would be for him to go to Pittsburgh. But the problem with that is his personality with Tomlin and the fact that he's on a McAfee show. Is that going to be a distraction? And everybody's going back and forth. Right. But the one thing that no one's talking about is the fact that Aaron Rodgers may retire. Right. So, I mean, there's just a lot of conversation. And I think to me, the only reason why I'm interested in receivers is to see what Pittsburgh does, just so I can bust Eric's chops, whether they get one or don't. But really, where the quarterbacks end up, that's intriguing to me, especially before the draft. So anyway, that should be exciting.
KD, you got to say something? You're just sitting there with your Bill Cosby hat on. He does.
Katie said since I came back, you don't get no chance to talk. It's already bad enough with you, but now I got to join the
I'm just laughing at the ridiculousness that transpired here tonight. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I cannot wait.
You talking about the draft?
Oh, I'm talking about the draft. I'm talking about this guy on the bottom here talking about they're going to sign the best quarterbacks. They're going to have T. Higgins. They're going to have fucking DeAndre Hopkins. They're going to have everybody.
Hell fucking yeah, they are.
He said Super Bowl.
I'm
waiting for it.
Baby. I'm building the dream team, right?
Well,
I'm spending that money. I'm going to Vegas. I'm living
at this point, DeAndre Hopkins would be a fractional marginal upgrade over Van Jefferson.
At this point, I agree. But if they get Aaron Rodgers, then obviously they're getting Devontae fucking Adams because that's where he's going, right?
He has Patrick Mahomes, and Van Jefferson probably outperformed DeAndre Hopkins this year.
Hey,
So, I just want to ask.
Go ahead.
I just want to ask the question. Since you're saying all this, if you couldn't design a damn offense for a guy that's literally under center, hey, look around 2 times and run with the fucking football. You can design an offense for him. What makes you think you're going to have a complicated offense to get the ball to Devontae Adams?
Hey, here's the deal. If you get an Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, he just runs the fucking offense. I'm just saying. Peyton Manning. Hey, was it Peyton Manning or was it the offensive coordinator for Peyton Manning? It was fucking Peyton Manning.
What did Devontae Adams do in New York with Aaron Rodgers?
Hey, just because it didn't work out once doesn't mean it won't work out because it's fucking Pittsburgh. It's the magic, man. It's the Iron City. It's the Iron Cities.
Hey, listen, real quick, and I got to run out of the car. I just got home, but listen, I do believe in the magic, Eric. I'm not. I think the hype is there. I've watched more disappearing acts in the first round in 7 consecutive years by the Magic Steelers than I've seen in any in history. So you're right. It's magic. Hey, I know you're happy to see me, buddy.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see you. I'll see you on the chat. All right.
No, you will. Hey, you guys have an awesome night. I'm glad I got to pop in. I'd have been here for longer if David wasn't a dipshit. So
let's wrap, Dave.
I couldn't see. I had the screen up. That was Sean, man.
Hey, 10-3. We ended up 10-8. Let's do it.
God. All right. On that note, let's fucking wrap.
Hey, you guys be good. Have a great night. I'll see you guys later.
All right, Jeffrey, be good.
All right, boss.
And everybody else, we will be back next week. I'm off. I'm off on Wednesday, so free agency starts 4 p.m. Eastern time, which means 2 p.m. Arizona time. I might jump on here early. If anybody's off and wants to jump on with me or home in time, feel free. We'll be talking free agency most of the evening. It's going to be we'll probably know by Monday where some of these guys are slated to go. But Wednesday's the day, man. It's the most wonderful time of the year. So everybody get ready. KD, any thoughts before we take off?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, Eric, any last words for you? All right, folks, we're from the couch, and we'll be back next week. Peace.